Enough with the fake applause. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. My name is Dan Delgado. This here is known as the Radio Dan Show. We are broadcasting live right now on Talk Radio X. We are broadcasting right now on 104.9 FM KGIG. That's the gig over in Modesto, California. For those of you who are in Modesto, California, how are you all doing tonight? I hope you are enjoying yourselves. I hope you are ready for an exciting hour or something close to an hour of radio. Now, you know that the last few nights I've been on the air and I've been complaining, which really for a talk show host is kind of par for the course. But I've been complaining about that I want to have people on video with me to interrupt the show and for nonsense to happen. That's always kind of the search. It's always the search for nonsense here on the program. Well, and tonight, I actually have guests that are willing to do the camera thing, so they are with me. In fact, I'm not even going to do any of the regular introducing nonsense, like the 10 minutes of spiel that you get at the beginning of the show. Forget all that, because we've got guests to get to right now. I've got two very exciting people to introduce to you. Let's see. I see them already there. This is interesting and different. Because I haven't done this too often, and all right, so we've got two people coming up, and right now I'm looking at one of them. All right, so first we're gonna talk to, I guess, Tamerlane, who happens to be a real life super villain. You are a legitimate, and you're very scary. I don't understand what's going on with. There's a lot of bad.
There's a compliment.
Yes. Tamerlane, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing quite evil. How are you, sir?
I'm a little bit less evil. I have a number of questions for you.
The word on the street says otherwise, man.
So, Mr. Tamerlane, being a supervillain, what is your overall objective?
Like anyone else's, take over the world, right? Simplistic enough. I, of course, am a left-wing supervillain, which means I'm a broke-ass. Well, I won't go any farther. I heard, is the children listening?
Well, you never know. Exactly. Children could be anywhere.
I wouldn't want to scare off the children with my foul language.
We don't want to do that. And granted, maybe I should have thought about that before I had a supervillain on. But
yeah, I had to stop myself. It was really the vodka talking, Mom, not me.
You're doing quite well. You're handling quite well. Now, how is it that you began in the super villainy field, by the way?
That's a good question, sir. Mm-hmm. I was at home sitting in my high-back chair stroking my dog Bentley.
Of course.
But on the news, several stories came on at once. This was the time of the Occupy movement, Arab Spring, yes, Anonymous. You know, I used to be a part of Anonymous until I said I was a part of Anonymous.
Oh, that sounds like a bad idea. Yeah, that
was it. It was a one-day gig.
Yeah.
So that, and maybe you've heard of the real-life superheroes. Grown-ass men running around in their underwear claiming to solve crimes.
Yes, like Phoenix Jones over in Seattle, for example.
Yes, he's an old nemesis of mine.
Oh, is that right? Have you
never actually met in Mortal Kombat. I have challenged him to a game of chess, though, and he turned it down, so by default I won.
So basically, when it comes to you and Phoenix Jones, it's Tamerlane 1, Phoenix Jones 0.
Well, you could look at the parody page I made of him called Peacock Jenkins. Peacock Jenkins is my parody page of Phoenix Jones.
I see. Now, where can people find this parody page?
Facebook. Propaganda, sir. It's what I do.
I see. Now, if people go there, they're just going to enjoy the parody. There's not like there's general evilness that they're going to be sucked into. Because I don't know if I want to.
Not that particular page, no.
Okay, all right. So it's.
I do have other pages for that sort of evil business. One's called TIC, Tamerlane's Injustice Consortium of Knives.
Consortium of Knives wait. What's it? That sounds like a place that you might go and buy a knife. Is that what that is?
No, that's true. It sounds like a cutlery store, doesn't it?
Yeah, is that a knife store? Is that what?
You may want to reconsider naming that. Yes.
Yeah. That doesn't sound all that evil. That sounds like.
Going back to your original question, yes, it was a combination of these so-called real-life superheroes and the Occupy movement versus all of that. And I'm a really just a creation of our times.
You're a creation of our times. So
Yes.
it was our times. Really, it's society's fault that you
I'm
exist.
society's Frankenstein.
Oh, wait, what did you do before you became a supervillain? What was your
Well,
job?
I've done this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I know a mutual friend of ours. I did a little mixology where I played with some liquors, and I taught a mutual friend of ours how to make drinks.
And who's all right. All right, so he's drinking, by the way. All right, so Tamerlane, you start out. Oh, look here. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Now
You
Athena.
know my mutual friend of ours here?
Yes, yes, it's Athena. It's Athena Finger, granddaughter of Bill Finger, who was out to set the world. He was out to set the record straight. Now, but before Athena, I gotta ask you a question.
What?
Why are you rolling around with a supervillain?
Because he's the best.
This is called an alliance of convenience, sir. It's all politics. Come, keep up with the gang.
Course. You can't have the good without the bad.
Oh, I see.
Here.
All right, now who's having the bigger influence between the two of you?
Oh, we don't even
Neither
talk
of us.
about that.
It's that third guy. It's bald back penis.
Oh, okay, all right. It's good to. I was wondering how he was going to play into it, but now I know.
Yeah.
No,
All right, so now, Athena, so are you with Tamerlane to help promote your cause? Is that what the idea here is?
my cause. Let's turn this around. He's helping me, even though he's a villain
Yes.
and he's the best villain you can find.
Right.
He's helping me with my cause to tell the
Know
world
this about
who my grandfather was
Yes.
and what he did for Batman.
But know this about any simian, any primate that walks this planet. Nobody
Okay.
does anything unless it's for their own gain. I just admit it.
Wait, so Athena, are you out for your own gain?
Yes.
Of course, we got to play the game, right?
I see. All right, we should explain exactly what it is that we're referring to for some people out there who might not know. Now, I will admit that this is actually relatively new to me. I was listening to, I believe it was the Dana Gould Hour of all things, and Drew Friedman was on there, and they were discussing the movie Big Eyes, and they were basically saying that Bob Kane, creator of Batman, was
Quote unquote.
basically the same as Walter Keane, a complete fraud. Now, this was news to me. I had never heard this before, but honestly, frauds are fascinating. Stories about frauds always fascinate me, so I needed to know more. So I started looking into it, and I find out about Bill Finger, who happens to be, Athena, your grandfather, and there is this growing movement, if you will, to have your grandfather be recognized as the true creator of Batman over Bob Kane, which I've heard the name Bob Kane my entire life, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's just setting history straight. As many other cases in history, we like to set the history straight. We just want to show the facts and show what really happens.
So, going back to my own gain, it's really not, though, because we need to see Mr. Bill Finger's name appear in the credits. And whatever the next production is, whether it's Batman meets Superman or whatever, we need to see Bill Finger's name on the screen. That's what it's really about. I fulfill my end of the deal. She fulfills her end. It's a deal with the devil.
It is, unfortunately.
All right, so now if you could go ahead and just give a brief little synopsis, like education as to who your grandfather was and what it was that he did as far as the creation of Batman goes.
Okay, so the question really is what Bob Kane did.
Oh, that is an excellent question.
That's the real question.
Da, 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 da.
Okay, really what happened was Bob Kane approached my grandfather with a concept of Bat-Man.
Birdman in his
It was a
underwear.
Birdman in bright red with stiff wings. He brought it to my grandfather and said, "What can we do with this?" And he said, "Well, we need to change the color scheme. We need to change the stiff wings to maybe a scalloped cape that looks like wings.
Ooh.
maybe black and gray, so it's dark and mysterious.
Otherwise, you would have had 70 years of Robin the Boy Wonder.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't have gone past year 1. If you were stuck with the original concept, which was bright red, with blonde hair,
how about
a
this
little
concept?
domino mask.
Wouldn't you be pissed off if you were Bob Kane too, if your character became the second fiddle little boyfriend of the other character? You'd be pissed.
So it's the question of what Bob Kane did not do. First of all, I do give him credit for coming up with the initial idea. But Bill Finger was the one that said, okay, if you're going to go with the bat concept, dark, nocturnal, grays, blacks, a detective, no superpowers, he's a man, he has a backstory, there's a backstory for the city that he's involved with. There's so much dynamics that goes into the story, but again, without the writer, you wouldn't have the story. You would only have pictures. So my grandfather brought a lot into the character of who Batman is.
All right. So, did you know your grandfather?
No, unfortunately, he died a couple of years before I was born.
Okay, that's what I thought. So how long has it been that you have been kind of trying to make this movement happen, get the proper recognition for Bill Finger?
Well, it's recent. I shied away from it for a long time. I was told that it was a lost cause, that there was really no avenue for me to really pursue it here. So it's more recently, with the 75th anniversary last year, that I came out and said, you know, this is really what needs to be happening with the correction of history, as far as how the creation of this character and all the beloved villains and also the other great heroes in this storyline came about. It wasn't just one person. It was more than one person. I can't just say it was Bill Finger. It was also Jerry Robinson.
Collaboration.
It was full collaboration between many people. Besides just Bob Kane, Bill Finger, and Jerry Robinson, there were other people who were involved. And they all deserve the credit that they are due. They all made the character who he is today. And he is loved by many.
A couple of people, I think, helped prompt you in the pushing your story forward.
Yes.
Who are those people?
The people who have been involved, who have really been pushing the story, are Mark Tyler Nobleman.
Yes.
Travis Langley, who is he does psychology, and he teaches a Batman class. There are many, many others who are involved with correcting.
Well, me too. Don't forget me.
This one has been a great help with the cause and getting the word out there as far as what the correct history is. There's been a huge movement in the last year with the 75th anniversary of Batman.
What we've been doing is we've been hitting the Comic Cons, and then we do a little lecture on the history of supervillains in film and literature, and then we segue into the Bill Finger story. So we've been keeping the masses entertained.
Now, when you go ahead and do this, are you surprising a lot of people? Are you finding that most people are not aware of this story, like I was not?
Yes.
Definitely.
But there's a bunch of us in the comic community who assumed that the rest of you knew. And then we started to realize, wait a minute, people don't know.
People don't know the truth. And the truth has been spreading
so,
more and more every day.
What is the reaction that you get? Because in a sense, you're in a way taking down a little bit of an icon there with Bob Kane, aren't you?
Okay.
Bob Kane, what about DC? And by the way, for the record, I'm a Marvel guy, all right?
You know what? Hey, me too. All right, Tamerlane. We're together on that one. All right, so you know. All right, so do you get any resistance from people who are out there saying, well, you know what, I know Bob, I've been looking up to Bob Kane for years and years. How can you come in and take down my icon? Have you had that kind of reaction from anybody?
If you look on Twitter, I follow Twitter pretty closely as far as the Bob Kane feed, and it's 50-50. If you look at the Bill Finger feed, it's more like, oh my goodness, I didn't know this, and yes, he deserves credit for where credit is due. And it's very far and few between where there's positive about Bob Kane. Now, I am not about bashing Bob Kane. he did come up with
I'll
the
handle that.
initial idea
With
of
Tamerlane.
bat slash man.
Right.
And he did go to my grandfather to evolve the character into what it is now. So I don't give him no credit.
Right.
I do give him some credit
It needs
for what
to
he
have
came
that
up
little
with.
and symbol.
But you know what? It truly was a collaboration with most of.
How many men did it take to make the Joker?
The Joker was 3 people.
Oh, I thought
It was
four. No, it was
3 people.
4. I've added the 4th one.
Oh, please.
I've added the 4th one, the original actor, the man who laughs, Conrad Veidt. Look him up. He's a spinning image of the
He
Joker.
was
There's nothing original in this
inspiration.
world. Nothing's original.
Inspiration, yes. But the 3 of them collaborated. Now there's huge
Oh,
debate over
see how you are. See,
huge.
she's not going to give the other guy credit. You see how people now already one guy's getting cut out. This is how this business works.
Listen,
What's
I'm
that?
not willing to
Who's
cut
really the
anybody.
supervillain, huh?
Right? I will give credit where credit is due. It is not just one person, it's a collaboration like we said. Okay? So credit is due to many different people. It's whether the big corporations or whether they're willing to give credit to the people who are the main creators of these
Now, is it
characters.
true when you watch Gotham, there's no credit for either of them?
No.
Neither man gets credit for Gotham.
There's no credit for anyone other than DC Entertainment.
Now, does that make you feel even worse that there's no credit on Gotham? Does that bother you even more? That no one gets credit?
It should bother all of us.
Why should it bother me? He's never gotten credit for anything other than the Clock Game.
The Clock Game? What's the Clock Game? What is this?
It was a 2-part series that he did in the 60s during the TV series. It was The Clock King. It was based on another character, but he did a 2-part series. He was the only person that was a comic book writer who transferred his character over to TV and actually created a whole TV episode.
I need to watch that. 2 episodes, huh?
Yes, it was a 2-part series.
I need to see that.
For the TV series during the 60s. He was the only person who did that. And, you know, he really did try to go into other mediums other than just comic book writing. He went into TV. He went into radio. He went into... Who else did he create? He created Wildcat. He created not Lois Lane, what was her name? Lena Lang. He also created Catwoman. He created Penguin. He created
superhero.
So many.
Guy with the ring.
Green Lantern was another one. There are so many characters that he's had his hand in, including Marvel. He didn't just work exclusively for DC. He worked for every company that would give him work because he was just happy to work.
He was a writing
He was a writer. He was an artist. He was truly a struggling artist in the medium of writing. And he was never really recognized for what he did. And he was poor, and he did what he could to survive. And he took the job wherever it took him.
Now,
like every other artist.
Do you hear anything from Bob Kane's side of things? As in, like, the Bob Kane family?
Bob Kane's dead.
Nope.
Well, yes, he's dead.
I never hear anything from the family other than it's fraudulent for saying that Bob Kane and Bill Finger collaborated on the Batman character. They do not recognize Bill Finger for his contributions to this character, ever.
Have you had
solely Bob Kane.
That is a legal classification and not the truth.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like legal classifications, not necessarily the truth. Now,
we all know the legal system in America is run by the almighty dollar.
Have you had any interactings with the Kane family while you've been making this movement known? Has anyone
I'd like to interact with the Kane family?
Oh, stop it. The only time that I've ever interacted with the Kane widow, Bob Kane's widow, was back in 2008.
Okay.
And she was not willing to meet me, and she actually turned her back to us. And she had no willingness to engage in any kind of conversation or acknowledging that we even exist.
No
She
kidding.
completely disregarded us.
Huh. So she turned her back on you and walked away. Now,
Yeah.
is this the moment where you turned to Tamerlane and then you said, all right, I need my camp?
Actually, I did not meet Tamerlane until 2010. And when I met the Kane widow was back in 2008.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, and when the last Batman movie came out in 2012, she was not able to attend to that premiere because she was not well at the time.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, I have not been able to meet her since 2008.
All right. So
I did break the story, you know. I had her and Mark Tyler Nobleman on my internet blog radio show.
He was the first radio interview I ever did, ever.
And
right.
I broke the story before NPR did.
No, wait a second. He was the first interview that you did. Is this why you're now? Was the interview so good that now you're sucked into all of his web of? That's what happened here?
And Mike Tyler Nobleman and Charles Langley, they brought me out and said it was time, and I agreed that it was time for me to come out and speak the truth about what my grandfather did for this character that has, you know, surpassed Superman and a lot of the Marvel characters. Batman is super popular across the world. And I agreed. It was time for me to come out and speak in behalf of my grandfather. And I have gotten the most positive welcome into this genre of people that I've never tapped into before. They've been so accepting and willing to
Geeks are like
share, well, you know, really willing to spread the word of what the truth is of what
Spread the love,
happens
baby. That's
with
all I'm trying to
Batman.
do. Spread
It's
the
not
love.
just one person. There was a team of people behind it.
Just like the creation of Batman. Bam.
And where is it that we go from here? What is the next move in the movement? How do we get the word out? Is there something that you're working on? I know you're going around to conventions and you're doing a little bit of education, I should say a re-education as far as what people know regarding Batman and his creation. What else? Do you have anything else that's going on? Or is there websites that people
Really, that's what I'm doing, is I'm spreading the word, and my friends have been great about spreading the word, and people like yourself who are willing to talk about the story.
Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. It's what
The
I'm
more
about,
we
baby.
spread it, doesn't matter what we say in the history books, we the fans know what the truth is, and that's what matters. I like the article says in the New Times, I do have someone representing me at this time that's trying to fight for the right for Bill Finger.
Got to do it.
You know, it's a battle.
The person that's representing you, it's not Tamerlane. He's not the one that's representing you, is it?
I don't work well in courtrooms. Stay out of there.
Oh, all right. I just want to make sure that we're getting proper legal counsel.
By the way, never take someone's advice to use a public defender. Sorry.
No public defender. What are you talking about?
Never.
You think I
Who knew?
need the government to this?
Who knew he'd bleed so much? I had no idea.
That's quite the glove that you have on your hand there, Tamerlane. What is that all about?
Thank you.
What's your gadget there? What is that?
Well, this is the left-hand path, baby.
The left
It
hand.
represents my political and my spiritual views.
Oh, I see.
I'm so far left I can punch myself in the back of the head with a right.
I see. Very, very good. Very left. You're the liberal villain. That's?
Yeah, I'm a little bit past the liberal.
Liberal, what's that?
I'm the worst kind of liberal. When I read a book, I usually have a gun next to me.
I see. I think the most impressive thing that you've got as far as your evil arsenal is even when you're not talking, even when I notice Athena is talking, like right this second, it's look at the if people see this on the video, that face, you just hold that face in place the entire time whenever you're not speaking. It's really impressive. It's you turn into this
what I do.
photo.
Listen, I just had a great week, The two of us were in the local newspaper, the local liberal rag, New Times. And
Yes.
Batman took over the cover story.
You know what? I did see that, and I'll have that link, and I'll post it on my
By the
website.
way, it's a nice little video they did of me in downtown Fort
I
Lauderdale,
love it.
messing things up a little.
Your mother is fat.
Wait, my mother? Is my
Well,
mother?
it's the general public's mother.
Oh, okay. Well,
Not necessarily your particular mother, sir.
you might not be far off on mine. Let's not get into it. You know what
Lay
I'm
off
saying?
the carbs, mamacita.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she can skip a meal. Let's not get into it. It's all right. She's not watching. It's okay.
We love you, my man.
Right. All right. Yeah, she's in
The
the.
other thing I did that was very interesting this weekend was I was one of the judges at the International Miami Science Fiction Film Festival.
Is
We
that?
actually got to see a film from your neck of the woods called L.A. Slasher. Have you
Wait.
heard of this?
No, I haven't heard this. But wait, it's from my neck of the woods, which is South Florida.
I kind of town. Where you
He's
from?
from South Florida.
Yeah, I'm in.
Although they're airing in California.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about L.A. Slasher.
Oh, I see. I was gonna say. All right, so tell me about L.A. Slasher because I don't know anything about.
Great flick. I have to put the plug in for the festival and tell you that this movie came out of California, and it's about a serial killer who kills reality stars who post on Twitter.
All right,
Brilliant.
now wait a second. This sounds like a fairy tale, as a matter of fact. This is not.
Danny Trejo and
Uh-huh.
Mr. Batista is in it. Great film.
Oh, okay.
Look it up. Look it up.
I will definitely look that up. So you're a supervillain, and I'm sorry. Is there a particular area that you are villainous in? Are you the South Florida supervillain?
Pretty much South Florida. I'm Tri-County from Palm Beach to Dade.
Right.
I like Cuban food.
No, you
Oye,
don't.
chica, ¿qué pasa, amiga? Pa, 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 pa.
Now, outside the Tri-County area, so like if you go to Martin County, basically, are you impeding on somebody else's turf? Does someone else handle the?
Honestly, there's really not a lot of people in the entire globe who do what I do. And even if they did, they wouldn't come close to
They
this.
wouldn't compare
What are you
to
talking
this
about?
guy. Please. He's the real thing.
Oh.
I wouldn't even put it past anybody else.
You can do your cursory research, but let me tell you this.
Tell
Your
me.
world's real-life superheroes,
Mhm.
they know me.
They-
know me.
They know you. Is it like a union thing? Is that how they know you?
Villain. Without a superhero, what do you have without a villain?
I say. So at one point, were you just like a nice guy, and then something bad happened, and then
Yeah, well, you know. I mean, in a world of dirty cops, corrupt politicians, and naughty priests, you need a super